Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Mythgard in Middle-earth. My name is Corey Olsen, the Tolkien professor, joined as always by my friend Gryfflet, who just kind of noticed something for the first time. It's not that we've never noticed this before, but I'm kind of been paying attention to this for the first time. So like here, I'm about to make a crashingly obvious observation, but there are tents. We're in Stangard, and there are tents here. I think I always took the tents for granted. I never really noticed them. But of course, it's a wonderful testimony to the temporary nature of Stangard, right? I've said before, I really love this idea of Stangard. The idea, on the one hand, it's a place of exile, right? So people who are being punished, people who are guilty, who are found guilty of one crime or another, and are banished to Stangard, and that's a serious thing. But at the same time, I think it's such a brilliant concept because it is both exile across the river, but it's also an opportunity for redemption, right? Go to Stangard on the frontier, guard the frontier, right? If you can faithfully go and guard the frontier, then you can redeem your honor, right? So it's a really wonderful, sort of punishment, but also opportunity for redemption. So I think it's a really cool idea. Big fan of Stangard in general. The tents here, right? So I'm just kind of, I never really noticed or never really thought about the fact that there are tents. One of the things I think that, I don't know if this is what led me to, I think I know why I didn't think twice about it, is that the only other Rohirric place I'd ever been to when I came here was like Grimbold's camp in Dunland, right? Which is all tents, obviously. So having nice Rohirric tents like I've seen before, it just sort of seemed to make sense. But it raises the very real possibility that there's very strong variation in sentences to Stangard, right? I mean, there are some of these are quite permanent structures, obviously, and there are some people who presumably live out their lives here in Stangard, but there are others who just hang out in a tent, right? Who camp and then go home afterwards, probably, or at least, even if they stay here, don't want to think about this as their permanent home, right? They're not going to build a house. They're not going to live in a house because this isn't their real home. This is just their place of banishment. This is just, their temporary residence, even if it's temporary for the rest of their lives. So anyway, I think again, sort of noticing these tents for the first time and thinking about them, and thinking that that's a really neat touch, a really thoughtful touch here in Stangard. Okay, so Gryfflet today has a high goal, and that is to finish the Great River today, which means he must go back to the epic and do his Tour of the Great River deed, the Vanished Rider deed. So I'm going to go, let's see, which one was it was in Rushgore. The Bubbling in the Blood, I think, was next. Where is it? Is that a quest? Once again, I find myself vexed by this particular epic quest. Deeds. Where are the epic deeds? There we go. Vanished Rider. Okay, complete a Bubbling in the Blood in the Rushgore. Okay. All right. I think just having that will take me to it. All right. Okay. Oh, hang on a second. What am I just going to ride off across country? That's crazy talk. I'm losing my head here. Okay.
Your aid is welcome.
Take me to the Rushgore. Thank you, Mr. Stablemaster, whom I wish had a name. But see, he's banished. Maybe he's left his name behind. Maybe he's like, I shall be known only as Stablemaster so as to bring no shame to my family, right? It all works. Okay, so here we are. Now we're gonna mount up. I think, yeah. Okay, right. We have quest rings for all of them. Great. Fine. Let's see if we can ride. Okay. Excellent. Let's see. Thinking of a lore question here. Ooh. Madman Modeler asks a really cool question. Thinking about Glorfindel. He says, speaking of going west, when did Glorfindel finally depart? Presuming, of course, that he did. Really interesting question. Okay, so let's think about Glorfindel. With Elrond. I think it's got to be with Elrond. Part of the rationale for having Glorfindel present at all. Glorfindel is, as far as I know, unique among elves in that he returned to Middle-earth after dying. So, you know, it's normal for elves to die and then come back to Arda. I mean, like to regain physical form. It is not normal for them to. It is not normal for them to come back to Middle-earth afterwards. Let's see. Nope. Nope. You want to send me after more bugs and things, and you want me to kill more Avank, and you want me to kill turtles. I think you, Edbrit.
Something has made the Dreadpig here more aggressive than they used to be.
Huh. Somebody stirred up the bugs, have they? Okay, on your way back from the carcass of the beast, you were set upon by a group of Dreadpig. You fought them off, but as they lay twitching beneath my sword strokes, their blood seemed to boil. Huh. That sounds inconvenient. Samples of Grodbog blood. Okay. See what we can do there, Edbrit. As I recall, it's this direction. Oh, they're all over the place, but I think up this way was where the home of them was. Here's one. Okay. So, well, Phil, you make the classic objection to my he must have left with Elrond argument, and that is, oh, yeah. Gryfflet one-shots a bug. I guess I shouldn't brag about that too much, right? Like, that sure doesn't make it sound like a huge accomplishment. Anyway, the obvious counter-argument, Phil, would be surely he'd have been mentioned, right? You know, in the chapter in the book, had Glorfindel been there. But, you know, not necessarily. Not necessarily. Would he have stayed after to watch over the sons of Elrond? Potentially. Potentially. But that doesn't seem to me inescapable, really. Anyway, but I don't think I totally finished my thought. Part of Tolkien's rationale for why Glorfindel made that, so far as I know, unique journey back to Middle-earth was that he was particularly attached. So Glorfindel was originally from Gondolin, and he was particularly attached to the family of Eärendil, right? So being a close friend of Tuor and Idril in Gondolin, he came back to look after, you know, their offspring, right? So Elrond as the grandson, right, of Tuor and Idril, and of course, you know, Elrond's dad, Eärendil, right, was Strong work, Gryfflet. Did I complete it? Yes, I did. Sweet. Anyway, Glorfindel knows the family. He came back to look after their son. And it does fit into the theme of Rivendell as a recycled Gondolin. Ethelod, you're exactly right. So I it seems to me then likely that Glorfindel would feel that his work was done with the end of the task of Elrond. Elrond's sons are still around. Wouldn't he choose to stay and hang out with Elrond's sons? That is possible. I mean, we don't really know Glorfindel's full remit, right? What was the task exactly that he set himself? Was it just to help Elrond and watch over Elrond? Would he stay to, continue to mentor Elrond's kids afterwards? I don't know. I mean, I would be tempted to sort of imagine Glorfindel as a sort of occasional visitor to Arwen, right? You could go there too. But he's got to leave sometime. And maybe he stays and closes up the shop with Celeborn. There is clearly a limit, right? Because Tolkien says that when Celeborn departs, he takes with him the last living memory of the First Age. So we know Glorfindel is not still there after Celeborn leaves. So does he leave? Definitely he leaves. The latest point at which he could leave is to take the ship with Celeborn. Did he stick around to help Celeborn out because he's like, nobody likes Celeborn, so I should stay to help him out because that would be kind? I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Seems that whatever causes blood to boil has moved on.
Okay, so the blood was waning. His presence alone is enough to make the blood of the Gredbig boil and bubble. Why would the Nazgûl make the blood of the bugs boil? He's not associated with boiling. He's associated with coldness. Okay, uneasy feeling in Parth Celebrant. It sounds like, except that it doesn't alliterate. It sounds like a Dear Abby sign-off. Signed, uneasy feeling in Parth Celebrant. Okay. So we're... Oh, nice. Going straight to the stable master. Let's see, where is this table? Make sure I'm headed in the vaguely right direction. Okay. Do I think Glorfindel would stay to help Elrond's sons? No. And here's the main reason I don't think. He's got to leave sooner or later. We know this. We know he's gone by the time we get to Celeborn. I mean, you could keep playing that off. I mean, if he is here to help the descendants of Tuor and Idril in perpetuity, then he would never leave, right? He'd still be here now, probably somewhere. He would still probably have an apartment in the Upper East Side or something, watching over the offspring of, down to this day. I don't think that that's the case, because he left again with Celeborn at the very latest. So if he's going to leave then anyway, why not sooner? I don't really see much reason for him to leave sooner rather than later or whatever, you know what I mean? So I kind of think he was already on board. I think that he and Asfaloth just didn't get named in the chapter because, frankly, although everybody loves Glorfindel, he was still a pretty minor character, right? And it was more important to talk about the idea of the ring bearers all leaving together was kind of the major important thing being said in that chapter. It doesn't mean we're told that nobody else left, right?
After you left, I went searching on my own.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. What did you find? You have stood unblinking before a shrieking mass of goblins and not given way before a charging warband of Kundalar Easterlings. You've even stood your ground when my wife was in one of her tempers. Ha, ha, ha. But at certain sights on the battlefield, my courage was quite drained away. Okay, we're examining degree. By the grassy knoll, by the crumbling corner, by the stone bridge. Okay, something not related to the ghosts. Okay, let's go explore, Cardrick. Guess I'll just take the road down. It's easy enough. Okay. So yeah, again, we have no data about this. He has to have either left with Elrond, or he left with Celeborn, or he left sometime in between. Of those three things, of those three options, the one which seems most fitting, the one which seems to make most sense and fit with the very few things we are told about Glorfindel's character, is that he left with Elrond. The only objection to that is that it's not mentioned in the text. But despite all the love that so many of us have for Glorfindel, I don't think there's any reason to assume that he necessarily would, that if he wasn't mentioned, he's not there. So that's my summary of my Glorfindel answer there. Okay, so let's see. We're all the way across, huh? Debris by the grassy place. What grassy place? At least I know where the bridge is. Let me start there. Ethelwald asks, does the Tolkien film make me more or less hopeful for the Amazon series? I don't think it really impacts it directly, other than in a purely illogical manner. Like, illogically, irrationally, it makes me more hopeful. Just simply because I've had the experience of... Okay, I'm by the stone bridge. Do I have to get under the stone? Oh, wait, marked location. That's good to know what to look for. What is this? Oh, just a broken urn? Thoughtful of him to put broken urns. Nothing unusual. Okay. Cardrick was... In this place, Cardrick was just being a weenie. Okay, fine. All right, so I clearly have to go into the city for the others. Okay. So, as I say, I did have the delightful experience of expecting the worst. I expected the movie, the Tolkien movie, to be outrageously bad, like an offensive outrage on the one hand, or at best just kind of boring and pointless, and instead I found it lovely, and I really, really loved it. So Ethelwald, that experience, of course, has me feeling a little bit more positive, but as I say, that's entirely irrational, as there is no connection between the two of any kind, apart from the fact that both are like screen adaptations connected with Tolkien. Apart from that, there's really no connection between them at all. So there's certainly no cause and effect reason. There's no rational reason why I should be more positive. But it is certainly nice to be reminded that sometimes things can come out better than you fear they're going to. So, there's that much, at least. Okay, let's see. Excuse me, Mr. Unrepentant soldiers. I'm looking for something. It might be shaped like an urn. It might be shaped like something else. Oh, I sworn heart seeker. Oh, hang on. Yep, it's back there. Excuse me, I sworn heart seeker. Oh, well. I think I was going to have to kill you anyway, so that's fine. And nothing out of the ordinary, just stones crunching out of foot. So in this place also, Kerdrick was just complaining for no reason. Grassy place overlooking the fast-flowing river. I think I know where that is. Yeah. So I thought that's my answer. Again, there's no real reason to think that like the Tolkien film suggests that there's no really concrete reason to think. But do I find it easier to imagine that it's going to turn out really well? Yeah, sure. That definitely is a consequence. Okay, let me see. I think, am I headed right towards it? Yeah, more or less. Is this the grassy? No, this isn't very grassy. Oh, sorry. I remembered this being grassier. Oh, well. Is it around the... Oh, wait. Right, no, hang on. Despite its ungrassiness... Nothing out of the ordinary. Okay, so I get to go back and tell him, really, nah, you're just making all of it up. You should grow a spine, Kerdrick, really. Right. Phil is pointing out that if the Gred Big blood could cool by the time I got there, then perhaps these places used to be spookier than they are now, right? So maybe the spookiness has worn off since the Nazgûl came through. Maybe. So what is the Nazgûl doing? Just touring? Are we supposed to imagine that he's just on walkabout through the Great River? Let's see. And I just realized that this is a question I've literally never asked of myself. When the Nazgûl gets shot down by Legolas, what does he do? Like, what is he up to? Goes back to Mordor and gets another mount is obviously sooner or later what he does. But what does he do right away? What is his, now that he's on foot, what's going to happen with him? What's he going to do? I don't know, actually. And that never really even occurred to me to ask. So what does the Lotro story seem to be inviting us to imagine that he was doing? Walking around Ost-Celebrant, is he trying to recruit Oathbreakers? Shades of fear like this, which seem like they could be usable to a Nazgûl. They and the Nazgûl have a lot in common. That seems possible. What else? The bugs. Why was he even up there? The Nazgûl. Is that where he crossed the river? Yeah, no, he's probably not trying to steal a horse and ride back to Mordor. It would be a long ride with your horse always trying to bolt out from under you.
Did you you experience anything strange while you explored the sites?
No, a bunch of ghosts, but they weren't strange in context. Okay, right, he's relieved. It was not all in my head then? No, I'm telling you it was all in your head, actually. I'm so confused. Whatever it was that instilled in me such uncommon fear may have moved on, but it's good to see it still had an effect on those sites. Did it? I thought I found it didn't have any effect on them. I knew I was no coward, but I thought that was my conclusion, that he was a coward. Okay. He wouldn't be shamed if he knew what was there. Okay. All right. Maybe I should have read the text more carefully. Hang on, let me go. Can I? No, it didn't show up in my... Oh, well. All right. Let's see. Deed text. What's next? Next comes the Black Breath in Earlsmead. Okay. Put that one up here. Hang on a second. We've got Earlsmead, Thinglad, and the Wailing Hills. Okay, so that one's the Wailing Hills, and this one is Thinglad, presumably, so I've got to go back to Stangard next. Well, at least they put them conveniently near stable masters.
Your aid
mostly.
Is welcome, friend.
Yeah, Catriona, exactly. I would think that poor Nazgûl would be having some serious flashbacks, right, as he's, slogging back to Mordor again the second time, like doing the Nazgûl walk of shame for the second time. That can't be a happy situation. But yeah, no, I agree, Phil. He's almost certainly not trying to steal a horse to ride back to Mordor, right? I mean, we talked about this. I don't think they can ride normal horses. Oh, just ride right around the side here, huh? I don't think they ride normal horses because remember Frodo objects to this to Gandalf, saying, how can their horses endure such riders? And the answer, of course, is most of them won't. But these horses are bred, raised and trained to bear them in Mordor.
Oh,
Ifing.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
cannot seem to clear my head.
Ifing shakes his head as if to try and clear it of cobwebs. You saw something and then something. It was dark. It sounds like he's concussed. It was dark and I could not see far into the night, but I saw a figure in the darkness. I thought it was one of my men returned from a patrol, but then it hissed at you, did it? I approached and demanded that the stranger identify himself, then everything went black. Ah, I think I can diagnose this. The shape came from the northwest, I think, atop that rising slope. Yeah. You need some Athelos, I think. All right, let's go up the slope here. See where he was. Spiritually concussed, Phil. Yeah, no, you're right. That's a little closer. Okay, rockworm. I think I gotta... No, not the rabbit. Hey, behind the rabbit. What was I doing? Oh yeah, stealth. That's what I'm doing. Yeah. Okay. Here we are. We're looking. Oh. That's a big footprint. Good grief. Whoa. Hang on. Yikes. That footprint is about 2/3 the length of Gryfflet. Hang on, Gryfflet, you can do better than this. Wow. That's... I think this is... I no longer suspect this to be a Nazgûl. Looks more like a giant. Whew. Heavily mailed foot. Very heavily mailed. Wearing a mailed boot. Okay. Talk to Ifing. Big boots. Absolutely. Well, Nazgûl, they go in for big boots. Because they don't have much else to wear, right? So they put it all in the boot department.
You found a booted footprint? I wonder what it means.
Found a booted footprint. And how? I'm going to console him. Boy, I don't feel very much like consoling him after that. I have few words of comfort. I know what it is that befell him. He ran afoul of the Nazgûl, who is in life was one of the stone giants. Oh, man. Ooh, succumbing to the black breath, the stench of death, and foul instrument of the nine. I think that's in a positive. I think that's all describing the black breath. The black breath, which is the stench of death and foul instrument of the nine. The stench of death. Huh. Is that what the black breath is? That's interesting. Do you think so? Stench of death. Maybe. Is it mortality that they smell like? I mean, that would be ironic, right? You attempt to forestall death, to avoid it, and the end result is that you reek of death, right, for the rest of eternity. I mean, I like it. I don't know that there's any justification for it, but it's interesting. Anyway, sorry. Shape on the shore. Thinglad. Got it. Alright. Heading the vaguely right direction. Through the friendly goats. Let's see. By reek of death, do they mean decomposition? Is that what the black breath would smell like? See, look, now there's another question I've never asked myself either. What does Nazgûl breath actually smell like? Would it smell like decomposition? It could. Oh no! I'm back at Thinglad! Avoid the deer. Orc camps. Let's say, if I go this way, I might be attacked by orcs, but if I go over there, I have to pass by the deer. I'll try to thread the needle here in between, but man. Would their breath smell like decay? I mean, I can't get around the fact that I feel like literally, thank you. I mean, deer. Literally, obviously, when they have no flesh to decay, So it wouldn't smell like decomposition. Would a smell like the smell of decomposition still attach to them as it's kind of a spiritual odor? Maybe. Is that what it would be?
On the shore, but when I approached, it fled.
Okay. It moved with a lurching step, sliding slow upon the ground. But I know the name of the apparition. Oh, he knows. Okay. Its name is Nazgûl. Bring word to Fimloth at Haldirith. Okay, all right. Well, that's good. The elves, of course, know what it is. Its name is Ulairi. All right. I'm just going to have to charge. I mean, there are deer in the road, but I can escape them. Aha! Avast thou, Thinglad Deer. Yeah, Phil was thinking it. Decomposition might be, in a sense, even too wholesome for the Nazgûl. Again, I like it as irony, right? I like it as you try to avoid death, and now the reek of death lingers on you always. That works for me, but I'm not sure I love it. I mean, like, that's cool, but is it sufficiently cool? Okay, sorry, is this the path? I can take this path out? I think so. I'm not sure it's sufficiently cool. What else would it be like? Pine leaf, that's a really interesting suggestion. That mortals can't understand the smell, and so it registers strangely in our minds. So it's not you're not actually smelling decomposing flesh, because there isn't any decomposing flesh, but it kind of registers in your mind as decomposition. I like that idea. Again, thinking about it, I think that's kind of what I mean when I talk about a spiritual aroma that, or odor that sticks to them. What I'm trying to think of, though, is would decomposition be the manifestation? Like, if the particular spiritual aura of the Nazgûl were to make an impression upon your olfactory senses, how would it manifest itself? Decomposition, it's not like it's out there, right? But a thing rotting, a living thing rotting and festering, is that like what the Nazgûl are like? It's possible. It's possible. I kind of like thinking about it the other way around, right? That is, thinking about, I would think the black breath would smell, I don't know, empty. Like stale air. Like a room that's been shut up and sealed away. It would smell like, dust and mildew. It would smell like formaldehyde. Yeah. Kind of like that. Gangrene. That's interesting. Yeah. It would smell like... You could go with a decomposition. I'm not saying it's an outrageous idea. Though it clearly wouldn't be a literal smell of decomposition, obviously. Yeah. Dust, mildew, a foul air. like air with almost all the oxygen breathed out of it. Almost nothing but carbon dioxide left. Something like that.
Are you sure? A Nazgûl?
Pretty sure. Yeah. Yep. Why is it on this side of the river? And what's it doing over here? Looking around. So it would have come to the shore because it was from over here, not exactly up there in Thinglad. It was from this side that the shot came, so it's following them? Yeah. This is disturbing news, but I believe a single one of the 9 cannot endanger Lothlórien, not while Lady Galadriel retains her power. Agreed. Oh, the 9 together would pose a more serious threat, but Our Lady still governs and her power still keeps the borders safe. Great. It seems to you that this Nazgûl poses more danger to the men south of here. Agreed. Okay. And now we go to the Wailing Hills. What's the name of the thing? Sniffling Snuffler. Okay. So we're going to be doing some sniffing. Oh, so yeah, Phil, this came up in the Ifing, the Rohirric guy, described the smell of the black breath, and he said it was the smell of death. It was an appositive, right? The black bell. No, it wasn't even his description. It was the quest text narrative, which said that it was, which identified with an appositive, that the black breath was the smell of death. So yeah. And that was what got me started on the question. Trying to avoid the deer. If I get chased by wolves or bears, that's not a big problem. Okay. Hang on, except I'm going the wrong way. Okay. Apart from that, I'm headed in just the right direction. Oh wait, I don't have to go back to him, do I? Why do I have a quest arrow over here? Looks like I cleared that one.
I have always prided myself on courage. Of last night.
Okay, we've got a Rohirric chap. Your father said I should follow my older brothers, and well, here I am. Something spooked the goats. You heard a sniffling sound, like someone with a cold. But there was something about that snuffling sound that made my blood run cold. You saw that it was... Right, the goats were also disturbed. Something moved among them low to the ground. By the way, so wait, where's our goat pen? Oh, there's 2 goat spots. Great. Let's see. Oh, whoa, help me. What's going on here? All right. There's orc spies among the goats. Whoa, orc spies among the goats. Does that suggest that some of the goats are Nazgûl or orcs in disguise? Okay. Hey goats, y'all okay? You want to talk about it, or are you coping? Shall we call the Nazgul Snuffles until we have his real name? Only if there's anyone else listening, so that they won't know who we're talking about. Sorry, I just reread all of Harry Potter in the last couple of weeks. Got a little bit of Harry Potter on the brain here. Why is the Nazgul sniffing in a goat pen? I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the smell of goats as much as anybody else. Okay, that's probably not true. There are probably people who like the smell of goats more than I do, but why is he sniffing around the goat pen? Why even bother building a goat pen if you're only going to enclose half of it? I mean, with these gaps in the fence, maybe the Nazgul made the gaps in the fence. And what is this post for? This intricately carved post with carvings on the top as well. Huh. Why is he sniffing among the goats? I don't understand. I mean, I get it that Nazgul sniff, but why here? I mean, when he sniffs, you know, the black riders with invisible noses, there's actually a trail that he's following. Is he following a trail here?
I suppose I may have imagined it.
The man is frightened enough without knowing the identity of the creature. Okay. I'm not cut out for this sort of thing. My brothers are bold and courageous. And my sister, she is a handmaiden at the Golden Hall in Edoras. Really? She would have marched right up to that and given it a tongue lashing it would not soon forget. Okay. Phil, I'm not necessarily assuming that we're following the Nazgul's trail in the proper sequence, though the one thing to be said for this is that it was going in the right direction, right? If it's heading inland, apparently. I mean, it started out in the Brown Lands, then to the Rush Gore, so I went down in order. Maybe that is the trail in order. I don't know, I have to admit that the narrative of this overall quest line doesn't seem to me to make a great deal of sense. That is, I'm not finding that I am ending up being able to really answer well the question, what's the story here? What is the Nazgul doing? When the Nazgul shot down, what did he do and why? Yeah. Wait, this is the northern gate up here, right? Yes. Okay. Where is he going and what is he doing? Yeah. I don't know. What is he doing? If you were trying to find, you know, the folks that shot him down, that would make some sense.
Welcome and well met, my friend.
If he... So that he would cross the river, I'm okay with that. Especially, right, I'm the Nazgul. I've done the Walk of Shame once already, all the way from Rivendell. I don't want to just go back and do the Walk of Shame right away with nothing else to show for it, right? Come back and be like, hey, yeah, so they shot me down. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't follow up at all. I just kind of got shot down and then came home, right? You know, for him to be like, okay, well, they shot down my mount. I have to do the Walk of Shame, but at least I can go and get some more information and see if maybe I can track them down because I was so close to them that they could shoot me down with a bow. So let me get across the river. Let me do some investigating, and we'll see what happens. Like I can imagine all that. But those quests in that order don't really give me much narrative. I feel like what they seem to have been going for in this quest line, in that series of quests there within that deed, is not a story about the Nazgûl and what he does, but rather there's not a story about the Nazgûl, but rather an exploration of the different characteristics of the Nazgûl, right? The kind of effect he has on people, the way he can influence his environment in different ways, the way that, the black breath, the sniffing, right? Like let's look at all of these different facts that we know about the Nazgûl and how they interact with their surroundings. And let's, walk the player characters through all of those things. I mean, it makes sense on that level, but I feel like that could be accomplished while also getting us some more of the narrative. Nona, what do you think?
We have learned much of this creature.
We have learned much about him.
Need to know.
Where has it gone, and what cruel fate has kept us a step behind it at every turn?
The creature was looking for something. We need to think.
Okay. What's he looking for? Is there anything other than the ring that he could be looking for? But if he's looking for the ring, why did he go to the Wailing Hills? Did he really? Surely the Nazgûl knew they were going down the river? I mean, the orcs, under the command of the Nazgûl, were shooting arrows at them while they were still in boats on the river. So, surely the Nazgûl knows that they're headed downriver. Why would he go inland to the Wailing Hills? Okay, we have to return to the village of the Horse Lords. You'll wait outside. Okay, so we have to talk to Horn. Great. Let's go, Nona.
Let us talk on the way back to the village of the Horse Lords.
Yeah, let's talk.
Has no one seen our new friend, or the Dunlending girl? I thought they would have returned to Stangard by now. Did some trouble befall them on the road?
Okay. As much as I wish we did not need to refuge... To refuge? I don't think I've ever encountered the word refuge used as a verb before. That's wonderful! To refuge or not to refuge? It seems we must. We have lost the trail of this creature, this wraith of which I speak, and until we can learn where it has gone, we're only wasting time. Okay. Yeah, let's keep walking. I agree. Are we walking? Yeah, we're walking. Okay. He desired a marriage match between his son Wolf and the king of the Horselord's daughter. Oh dear. King Helm the Hated refused Freka's offer. He lured Freka to a desolate place and slew him with treachery. This is not the version of this story I've heard before. What? Easterlings? Hooray! Oh, nice. And you're all coming after me? Well, we'll just see about that. There'll be more of them? I hope they bring more if they want to fight the both of us. Oh, where are we going? Are they down here? Oh no, we're getting off the path. Okay. We're going... Boy, Nona, I'm just glad I have floaty names on, that's all, because there is no way I could follow you through this. Okay. We could just have stayed and fought the Easterlings. Wait, you feel something? You'll feel safer up among the rocks, Nona? Okay. Oh, sure, I can do this if you like. There we go. That's a nice little spot. Look, we can see a post in the Brownlands. We can see the Easterlings' beautiful tents. We can see, oh, there's the camp by the edge of the Rushgore. There's the camp of the Mirkwood folks. We can see everything from up here, Nona. This was a great idea. Okay, the wraith's coming. It makes your blood run cold. Well, that proves you're not an insect, so that's good. She's not had much experience with creatures of such evil, unlike I, who have been chasing Nazgûl around since literally I was level 5. So, okay. She puts her hand on the hilt of Wadu's sword, and her former fright is replaced with grim determination. Okay. You hear something. Do I see what? There he is! Oh, he's sniffing. He's wounded? He's wounded, Nazgûl? Uh-oh. Here he comes. It flashes with a bright light? Really? Well, that was really interesting. Why would it do that? Gryfflet, the big one. Oh, I gotta catch him. Okay, sorry. Come here, Mr. Captain. Thank you for standing in a less weedy spot.
What do you need?
Your people have powerful friends. Okay. Well, at least, you know, for your consolation, Mr. Captain, I'm not one-shotting you. Oh no! Nona's in trouble! Run back! Uh-oh. Fire! Who set the fire? I think it's... Get out of the way. Yeah. Run, you wounded Nazgûl. Gryfflet has come. I think that fire must have... Gryfflet was running so fast down the hill chasing the captain that he set fire to the underbrush on the way down. That's my theory. Okay. Nona lies crumpled on the ground, soaking in the blood from a sword wound in her side. Oh dear. She needs the aid of a healer. From what blade did she take the wound? Did an Easterling blade cause this injury, or was it a blade of the Nazgûl? Yeah. Oh dear. How am I meant to carry her back? Nona's breathing is ragged and shallow, and the gash in her side still bleeds around the cloths with which you tried to staunch it. When I brought her to Stangard, she was barely conscious. I found Horn near the entrance and begged for his people to tend to Nona's hurts. He sought out the leader of Stangard to see what could be done and has not yet returned. What was I saying? Oh, so many things. Freka? No, I wasn't talking about Freka. You were talking about Freka. Wolf avenged? Freka? Yeah, maybe we shouldn't talk about this right now. She mentioned wolf. Well, yeah, tricky topic of conversation. You have his decision. Okay. I'm not going to be pleased. He did not understand why we should heal the hurts of a Dunlending girl. He relented somewhat, and he has agreed that our healers will do what they can. Okay. So Horn talked him into it. This cannot be his decision. Uh-oh, wait, a condition. Our healer will see to the girl's wounds, but she must relinquish all claim to the sword she carries. Oh, ouch. In Stangard, that is the price of life. This was the message I was given. Oh man, this is a sticky place. She beseeches me with wide eyes, but you cannot meet her stare. It was Wadu's. No. Yeah, that's a non-starter, Horn. Our healer can save your life. You should not die this way. How would you have me die? That's a good follow-up question. Not for a sword. Plague on the stiff necks of the Rohirrim. Wait, what? She could give Theoden King lessons in being headstrong. Okay. All right. The Elf Witch. I did not, I think, speak of the Elf Witch exactly. But, okay. A pox on her, I will not have her blood on my hands or her own. Lead us to this elf witch. I have heard the tales. Perhaps she will be unable to bewitch me if I am expecting it. Okay, and Stangard is a sword valued more highly than the life of a girl. What sort of man would willingly serve in such a place? Horn thinking about abandoning Stangard. Oh, I almost walked off and backed off the flet here. Where are we? Oh, right next to Galadriel. I will never call my people distrustful again. The blindfold felt somewhat unnecessary to me. Only the most urgent of need has driven me here, and I would not want to return. Will she recover? I saw the way those elves looked at her wound. If it was not an Easterling blade, what does that mean? Have I seen this before? Well, yes and no. All right, what's the prognosis? Galadriel has done what she can. The wound was deep, but it did not fester, and yet I did not wish to leave this girl to the care of my healers. The risk that her wound was caused by a Morgul blade and that she would become a wraith like the creature you encountered that night. We had a long conversation about this on Tuesday. Compelled me to heal her hurts personally. If that had proven the case, I would have ended her suffering. It would have been a mercy and necessary to safeguard Lothlorien and indeed all lands. But you're glad it didn't come to that. Okay, good. Not a Morgul wound. You're surprised that she will live. Is that what you're surprised by? The girl is sleeping. When she is awake, I'll be brought to her. Now I should rest. Dream no troubling dreams. Ha ha. Really funny, Galadriel, as you have been sending the troubling dreams. Okay. Phew. There is some glamour in this land. Interesting. You feel like you could take on any foe and achieve victory. You think it's the glamour of the land making you feel that way, Horn? Maybe. Only song could do justice to her powers of healing. You feel overwhelming relief. The girl will live. Hooray! You want to return to the forest floor. Okay. And you want me to bring the girl back to Stangard. Okay.
Along the banks of the great river, you evaded a great evil, but not without cost. The girl Nona was brought before me, wounded and in pain. I did for her what I could, but her fate is not yet clear to me.
Okay. I've discovered the House of Celeborn. Oh, here we are up on the platform, huh? It's a flet runner. Yeah, I've not really discovered it. I have a quest to turn into Celeborn?
We do not allow outsiders into the Golden Wood.
Barad Guldur, the end of the nightmare? Okay. Who knew? Huh, okay. Cool. And Galadriel. Who?
You have journeyed far.
Yes.
And have come very close to death and sadness.
Yeah, skirted right around sadness. So that was good. It's a suburb of death, turns out. And yet I still skirt the gravest danger and will come safely through the other side. Okay. You had nothing to do with my dream? Really? When I described my visions, I did not tell you everything I suspected. It seemed clear to me that your paths must cross one of the 9. You believed the girl would die. And yet, unbelievably, she did not. Either through your own actions or hers, you both escaped the clutches of the Nazgûl, and either through curious good fortune or powers unknown to me, our mutual friends seemed to have outdistanced its pursuit. No rest. For those of us who worry for their safety, the Nazgûl is not the last danger they will face. Okay, so Galadriel is assuming that the Nazgûl was indeed pursuing the Fellowship, which is the only thing that makes sense. And it's not surprising that they escaped, since it was going in the opposite direction to them, apparently. But anyway, they and you are not free of evil's clutch just yet. Okay, we're going to speak again. Great.
It is nearly time for you to depart again.
Okay. The guests of Lord Celeborn. I love it. Yeah, we're Celeborn's guests. We're absolutely here to see Celeborn. It is my hope this reprieve was of use to me. Oh yeah, definitely. No time of rest as long as we might wish it to be. Okay. Galadriel directs your gaze to the flets that cling to the bole of the tree. Nona has made a full recovery, and a greater one than I expected of her. Interesting. Okay, she is waiting at the ladder down from these flets. Show her the city of the Lothlórien. We will speak in my garden when she is satisfied with her exploration of what the city has to offer. Okay. All right. Woohoo! Go down and find Nona. Almost Rivendelled the flet right there. Oh, hey there, Nona. What do you think, huh? What do you think of Lothlórien? Pretty nice, huh?
They tell me I was close to death. I remember very little of it.
You remember a creeping shadow, a chill cold, and then your blood didn't boil, proving you not to be an insect. The men of that town would not heal me unless I gave them my sword, but you spoke against it, and so did that man. I should thank him for his kindness, even though he is of the horse folk. The lady of the elf woods told me I could see her city before we departed. Okay. If I were well enough. I tell you I am. All right. bring you to some of the notable locations of this city. Okay. We go to the White Fountain of Caras Galadhon, the Telain Galathrim, and the Telain Melthuin. Great. Okay. All right. Sounds great. I think I should probably leave it here, however. We're just starting book 7, so this seems a good stopping place for one thing. And for another thing, I got a bunch of things going on with my kids today, and I got to leave a little bit early today. But I'm glad I achieved my goal of finishing the Great River. From here, we will be heading off to Rohan, crossing into the Wold. Going to be exciting. I doubt that Gryfflet will get as far as his war steed next episode, but we'll begin with some Lothlorien sightseeing. Okay, so I will not be here next week. Next week I'm going to be out of town, but I will be back the week after that. So 31st of May, Gryfflet will return and finally cross the bridge into Rohan. Very exciting. So thanks for joining me today. Couple quick announcements. Don't forget 2 things that are coming up quickly this weekend. One, tomorrow at 11 a.m. So tomorrow, Saturday 19th at 11 a.m., I'm going to be doing a review and discussion of the Tolkien film, which I talked about a little bit. And we talked about some last week as well. But I'm doing a discussion with Maggie Park, one of our Signum faculty, who does a lot of film study and stuff. So I'll be interested to hear her thoughts about the film. And I'll be also responding to questions and reactions and stuff from all you guys as well. So feel free to join us. We'll be on the Signum U Twitch channel there. You can also there's a GoToWebinar link for that as well on signumuniversity.org/events. Also on Sunday the 19th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time is going to be a very special thesis theater. So we do these broadcasts, which we call thesis theaters, when one of our master's students at Signum finishes their master's work and they do a presentation on the topic of their master's thesis. This coming Sunday is the presentation of Trish Lambert, the Tolkien maven. She's going to be talking about her master's thesis, which is all about Lotro, doing an analysis of Lotro with an special focus on the quests of Dunland and Rohan. So that's going to be happening Sunday afternoon, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And again, you can join us. There's a GoToWebinar registration for that as well. So, yeah, there's the link there that Druid's Fire just posted. So, excellent. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for joining me today. And I will see you guys in 2 weeks. Thanks, everybody. Bye now. Thanks for joining in on my rambles around Standing Stone's brilliant digital adaptation of Tolkien's world. If you enjoy these adventures, please consider supporting this and other entertaining educational programming by donating at signumuniversity.org/fund.